Hustle, hustle, yeah. Hustle.
What up, y'all? It's the one only Prophet McFly for my rants of the day. Decided to do this one back in my whip because it's a little chilly outside again. I mean, there's no snow here for this time of the year, so I can't complain, but not optimum weather either. The purpose of today's rant is to be really simple, really straightforward. I've been getting like a lot of feedback from white people like, oh, you see the Democrats suck too, blah, 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 blah. No. Let me get this clear straight. Really clear, really straight. I believe Trump is a Nazi, personally. So, I believe anyone that voted for Trump supported a Nazi. Intentionally and unintentionally, it's still, I think this is offensive as a action as an American could take, a human being on this planet post, or even pre-World War II, right? Like, those motherfuckers that empower Hitler don't get a pass, so the motherfuckers that empower Trump don't get a pass. Now, this is post-Ferguson, this is post-George Floyd, this is post-Stand By, this is post- grabbing by the pussy. This is post the first election night, Dave Chappelle, SNL. All these things happened, right? So at this point, you can't play ignorant to the fact this guy is racist. You can't play ignorant to the fact this guy is homophobic. You can't play ignorant to the fact this guy is xenophobic. And I don't know if xenophobia counts for what he's doing against Muslims, but that as well. And notice that all these groups that he's identifying and picking targets with aren't Caucasian groups. They aren't groups that are descendants of people from Europe. The majority of cops are Caucasian in this country, period. The majority of judges that he appointed were Republican. And those judges were the same judges getting these cases of his so-called election fraud. And these judges that he got the job are throwing these cases out. Even if they felt like they owed Senior Cheeto a favor, they didn't think it was big enough to warrant them doing something they found immoral. And these are people who don't believe women's rights to choose. These are people who don't believe Black Lives Matter. But they don't agree that election fraud happened either. So at this point, I'm starting to look at you people who still are following Trump. And I want you to think about this from a black person's perspective for a second. So I sat through 8 years of Obama being called every variation of a monkey possible. I sat through 4 years of the same person who started his media takeover 6 years ago by accusing that black man of being an immigrant. Y'all forget that too, right? Racist, xenophobic. I'm realizing now, well, not realizing, I've been realized the people that he appeals to are people who are racist, xenophobic, homophobic. And I wanted to point out that the FBI, his FBI, has stated that domestic terrorism has gone up by 90%, and those crimes are being committed by white supremacists and white nationalists, his people. And now, the people who couldn't vote for him because they don't believe in Democrats either are still trying to tear Biden and Kamala Harris down. So, ask yourself, as a black man, or a black woman, are we unfamiliar with seeing another person our complexion being torn down in the media, being torn down in white spaces, safe white spaces? Are you guys comfortable speaking the way you do? Shout out to those kids at NDSU, got caught again, huh? And when I say shout out, I'm being sarcastic as fuck. But don't you think it paints a very clear picture? The people who support a Nazi are quick to call out people who are opposing a Nazi, especially if they're of color. Like, think about this. How many men who aren't of color have had something negative to say about Kamala Harris? I'm trying to convince me, person of color, how to feel about her. That's not subtly racist? Anyway, I don't want to get too much into this topic. I might need to use some of this ammo later, because you already know it's Sunday, and we have to reschedule Politically Miscorrect. So tonight's episode will be airing at 5 o'clock. Today's episode will be airing at 5 o'clock. I'm going to drop the link to the last Politically Miscorrect episode in this video as well, so you guys can stay connected. I also want to thank you for tuning in, listening to me rant, and let me know if you think I'm right or wrong, because I feel like at this point, if you're here for anything in this political conversation besides holding Biden accountable and making him follow through with some of his promises, you're useless. Because those same Republicans that want to call out the Democrats, if they actually listened to black people and listened to Black Lives Matter organizers, they would know we already had a plan from day one for this guy to execute. And if we really want to hold his feet to this fire, you guys, you people who didn't vote for him would be the party to do that. But I guess y'all are too busy following your commander-in-chief, celebrity apprentice host that didn't get fired. Well, technically he did. Job's over, bro. And for the last thing I want to say is, while you guys are defending him, realize that if you're donating money and contributing money, he gets to keep that once he's proven that I already know. Even if I was on Trump's side, I wouldn't be donating shit now because I'd be giving him money. But for those people who are, that's what you're doing. He's going to lose, and he's allowed to keep all of that. So you're helping him pay off his debts to whatever government he owes debts to. And lastly, I want to say that the same people that cry out Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization. I want to ask you, what has Blue Lives Matter, since the cops are so willing to kneel and care? What has All Lives Matter done for the family of Breonna Taylor? The two victims that Kyle Rittenhouse shot. Because those are people and their lives matter, right? And the cops, the Blue Lives, enabled them, gave them water, told them where to find the people for Kyle to kill. So they're actually complacent in that murder as well, which is not surprising because I think all cops are criminals. Tamika Riley was right. Arrest all the cops. But I don't want to get too far from my point, which is, in a matter of weeks, white businessmen and the same people that voted for Trump found $2 million, a sixth of what Breonna Taylor's family got, to get this terrorist, white national terrorist, out of jail. It's clear as day, and it's as plain as black and white. So don't hit me with you don't see color shit. And also, did a little research for my politically miscorrect people tuning in. The reason why it's called Black Friday is the day that all the businesses, most businesses, go from the red to the black. It has nothing to do with race or anything else either. But the black connotation, like blackballed and everything else, that's why I jumped to be so defensive on the podcast last week. But anyway, make sure you guys tune in tonight. I want to thank you for tuning in. You're rocking out with the one, the only Prophet McFly, and this is your rant of the day. Peace and love, y'all. Hustle.